Have you ever been hurt by a controlling person or a religious group? Do you find it hard to move on after suffering that abuse? Any abuse from a personal group for that matter? This video is about my story of one of the single most powerful and effective things you and I can do to overcome the hurt and abuse of the past and successfully move on. The key is to forgive them. But is it possible to completely forgive? What if you lost your family to a separation cult who directly influenced your loved ones to shun you and cut you out of their life, where your family have not been able to hug and kiss you for decades because they are not allowed to see you? What if they indoctrinated you from birth, kept cutting your roots like a bonsai tree, put burdens on you that you couldn't bear, messed with your head so you never really knew who you were, so you never really actualized who you are? What if they didn't even inform you of the death of a loved one till after they were buried? Had your pet put down because the cult leader said so? Realised after a loved one's death that there's nothing evil about blood transfusions, but now it's too late. Maybe you can relate to some of these goings on, but how can you forgive those people who have done those things? Everyone is different, and here's how I handled my situation. I was born into the exclusive Brethren, a religious cult, totally under the control of one man, their leader. And when I was 4, my 4 grandparents left, and the strict laws and the fear we were under meant that we never saw them again. That was 50 years ago. Then, when I was 22, I escaped, and since then my parents and remaining family have not been allowed to have anything to do with me. In effect, the leader's strict laws have destroyed my family these past 32 years, 50 years even. That's the short version, by the way. So how can you forgive, especially when they're still carrying on their family destruction? Here's what I did. See if you can relate this to your situation. First, I realised something massive. I realised that forgiveness sets me free to move on in my life. Never mind their bigoted, self-righteous, law-filled, inhumane, coercive, controlling, primitive, narrow-minded, void of love lifestyles. I'm not waiting for them to change. I'm empowered by taking my own responsibility for my own life now, thank you very much, and forgiving them is for my benefit. Such is the potential life change that can happen when we realise this. I went onto LinkedIn and asked how people view forgiveness in relation to this, and here's what some of them said. Forgiveness isn't about the benefits to the other person, but about the impact it has on us. You can cause more pain to yourself by not forgiving. In order to move on, for you have to forgive. It's healthy to forgive for our peace of mind and sanity. You do it for yourself, for inner peace. Forgiveness is really about keeping ourselves healthy. Resentment and holding on to anger is poison in the veins. Forgiveness is vital to mental health. And I like this one. Why harbour and pay for it twice? Forgiveness releases the problem and brings closure. So if today you are struggling with the pain of the past, I understand how it feels. This is what I did that really helped. 3 things. Number 1, I realised that for me to forgive the leader and the group for destroying my family, I realised that unforgiveness would keep binding me to that person, that group, and would keep a channel of pain open and alive. Pain that could go on for decades if I let it carry on. I saw that I would have to cut off that channel of pain so it tormented me no longer. I also learned what forgiveness isn't. It's not forgetting, it's not condoning the hurt, it's not saying it doesn't matter what happens or that it's okay. So my first step was realising what forgiveness is and what it isn't. It's for my massive benefit. Then a second realisation, if not an awakening, was to the fact that I've not been perfect in my life either. I've made many mistakes too. Not always been a good boy. I've caused my fair share of havoc, damaged people too. Not physically with guns, drugs or violence in my particular life, but in other ways. By being a bigoted, self-righteous, judgmental, pharisaical, hypocritical legalist that terrorised people with the good news of eternal conscious torment. It comes simply down to whoever hasn't damaged anyone, let them cast the first stone. And that is a good reason why to forgive others who have also made mistakes in their life. Then the third realization I had, and this is what really cracked it for me, was the realization that these people and their leaders who destroy families ultimately don't know what they are doing. They are blinded to their destruction. Yes, they are cognitive to what's going on. They know how to handle money and keep the members under control by updating their laws from time to time. But they are royally deceived into the bigotry of believing they alone are right, the only ones who are right. If their ability to empathise wasn't so damaged, and they really knew the pain and suffering they are putting destroyed families through with their coercive controlling laws, they wouldn't do it. The love that is so hidden by their ego and pride would move them with compassion and would override their self-righteousness. The greatest example was when Jesus was being crucified by his enemies. He loved them so much. He said, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." When I realised these people are incapacitated, crippled and darkened, deceived and blinded in their minds, I came to the place in my heart where I was able to say, you know what? I forgive you, the whole lot of you. And my unforgiveness seemed to dissolve, and I was free. One, I understood forgiveness was for my massive benefit. Two, realising I have made my own mistakes in my own life. Three, realising these poor people are seriously crippled in their minds. I then chose to release my anger and let it go. I forgave them actually years ago, and that's why I look so young, as you can tell. Not many wrinkles and all that, and the hair's the old original colour. I mean, natural colour. So anyway, however, lastly, there's something else that really helps me to forgive that I have never done until now. That is to identify and express how you really feel and write it all down in a letter, which can release the anger and pain that we've gone through and might still be going through. Expressing your emotions on paper allows them to live outside yourself. Some people, when they do this, feel a tremendous relief and it helps them forgive. Some don't even send the letter, they just write it, lock it away, or even burn it. A forgiveness letter does not absolve the other person of something they have done to make it okay, but it frees you from the pain you've been holding on to so often and the burden of having to deal with it all the time. So I really recommend this. In the next video, I'm going to read out a letter that I have written to the leader of the religious group that has separated my family for the last 50 years with their group's laws. I'm going to be expressing how I really feel for the first time. I've already sent a letter a few years ago, got no response. Involved a friend in the same situation as me, still no response. So it's time to put it out here publicly, in the name of transparent honesty and for all those destroyed families and all cults around the world. And I encourage you to consider writing the same, a letter to the personal cult that has damaged you or your family. You never know. Honesty is light which dispels darkness. Thank you for watching this video on forgiveness. I hope it helps someone. As always, I can only see part of the jigsaw puzzle, so please add your experiences in the comments if you can, and like and subscribe please, to spread the reach out more. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.